Okay, so we are live. Um, Dr. Lee, we're on. We're going to allow some viewers to come in for us for a second, and then we're going to get started. Just so happy to have you, man, and so
Thank you.
grateful that you are just taking time out of your day to invest in some children and some young minds at Rowan Salisbury School. So very appreciative of you and very appreciative of what you do. I can't wait for people to hear your story. I can't wait for you to just drop some gems of knowledge on everybody who's watching.
Mhm.
It's great to be in your presence, man. So thank you. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We'll let a couple people
Hmm.
get in and then we'll get started.
Awesome.
We got this streaming on our RSS Rowan Salisbury School CTE
Hmm.
Facebook page. I got it on my personal Facebook page, and we also have it streaming live on our YouTube channel. So
Awesome.
yeah, you're already internationally known, so you should be used to this, right?
Somehow. uh,
Okay.
Funny. Yeah. Go ahead.
We have a couple people on, and just for time's sake, we just want to go ahead and get started. So, welcome to Work-Based Webinar Wednesday. I am Dominique Bakes, Associate Director of CTE
Hmm.
for Rowan Salisbury Schools. I deal with work-based learning and community partnerships. Today, we have a special treat for you. We have my good friend, Dr. Lee. I will let him tell you all about himself and all about his story. And he's gonna have some great things for you today. So, Dr. Lee, if you don't mind, just introduce yourself and tell us about your story and your career journey.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Dominic. We really appreciate your time and the effort that you're putting in trying to help the young adults to continue learning, which is the number one purpose of our life, continue learning. So I do appreciate that opportunity. Briefly, I can tell you that I had been in the business world for the last 30 years of my career in the HR and operations. All those years internationally based in different countries. So I have been able to recognize the value, the power that has um, culture, competencies, development, growth, all those different ingredients that has been exposed to in some way, shape, or fashion for the last 30 years. Um, a lot more to learn, a lot more to come for the future, but I continues to be a learner, especially when it comes down to development of individuals and development of organizations, and therefore develop of communities, and so on. So I'm very grateful of the experience that I had for so many years with so many different organizations, from Fortune 200 to mom and pop businesses. So I'm excited to be part of this webinar, and so we can be able to engage into deep conversation about what it is that it takes to be an outstanding citizen of learning.
Absolutely. So, can you go into detail about some of the organizations that you work with and how you have helped them, whether it's consultant wise or just being a part of the organization and just adding your work to the organization?
Oh, absolutely. I have, like I said, I have been with companies that are small as mom and pop businesses to a large 200, Fortune 200 companies with multi-billion dollar locations and multi-billion dollars structure. And the interesting thing about the dynamic of the learning is every organization comes back to people. Number one. Number two, what if those people are doing? What is that we need to be developing, encouraging, promoting, engaging people on so they can become the organization of tomorrow. Putting the emphasis on the people obviously take us to the next level of what the organization looks like. Taking away the pedal from people's engagement, from people capacity and competencies and development, then that put us in an organization that sooner or later is going to suffer the consequences of not paying attention to the most important value that they have, which is people.
Right. And so in your career field, and continuous learning and helping to build people and helping to build organizations and just building that culture, what does it take to, I know that I know it's not easy. So talk a little bit about, what it takes, and tell us, something that keeps you going, maybe whether it's a quote, some type of music, or, what's your motivation, and what does it take?
I think for me, the motivation is to see when things, I call it the clicking management style. When something click, it keeps me motivated. When I see two people's, or I see a group of individuals clicking very well as a culture, I can see in no time the result that the company is gonna benefit from. So seeing how people can collaborate in teams, how people can collaborate in developing the next generation of solving problems, not just about capacity of solving the problem that already is there, but also the capacity of solving the problems that haven't even show up. So that is very, very critical to us in many, many, many ways. So with that being said, I think that's a key element for me that keep me motivated. Seeing people connecting in a level that they haven't done before, it makes me very excited about where the future is going, not only for the individual, for the organization. And we have had numerous opportunities, statistically speaking, to proving that in terms of the capacity for the business to grow. And we have seen it. My normal approach is that I can help a business to grow at least 15% overall grow within the first year of engagement. And that is because of the focus in how well people can connect.
I love it. Thank you. So, what are some obstacles that you've had to face along the way, and how did you overcome these obstacles? Because I know you've been in it for 30 years plus, and
Yeah.
so I know everything hasn't been squeaky clean and just smooth sailing the whole time. So, talk to us about some of your obstacles that you've had to overcome, and what you did to overcome them.
I think the number one obstacles that I continue to face in companies is that the companies focus too much on revenue growth and revenue development, but not enough in sustainability of that revenue with the right culture. So that has been the number one problem that I see from small companies to a large organization. In large organizations, you have a little more streamlined processes that allows to look better in paper, but it's still challenging in terms of how well we need to accommodate the culture that is needed for that organization to thrive. So one of the things that I have done in the past is, again, focus on the gap assessment by employees. Where are the gaps? What are the issues? I do a lot of mentorship. I do a lot of apprenticeship. I do a lot of coaching. I do a lot of leadership and management development. And these 3 or 4 or 5 areas are not a time just to teach people. It's about understanding where they at and where they need to go, clarifying their expectations, removing obstacles that they might have. Sometimes are personal, sometimes are business related obstacles. But as a manager, you gotta know the people's competency and you gotta know how far they can go. If you don't, then you're missing out the opportunities that you have to actually increase the overall performance of the culture. Culture equal to long-term sustainable revenue. Culture means happiness in the organization. Culture means that we really can get an organization from nothing to a whole lot. So that's how I have focused myself for many, many years is where are the gaps between people? What is the company toxic? Is the culture too dramatic? Where do where do they have the priorities? And one of the things that I will say to add to it, Priorities to me is not just what is important and urgent, but also what is meaningful to the long-term performance of the company. That is meaningful to me. So that is so critical that we understand that it's not just about what is urgent and important to the business and the customer, but also what is meaningful to every stakeholder, including the employees.
Yes, I love it. I love it because you see that most organizations who incorporate culture and some positivity and just that base they have some principles based around employee satisfaction and things like that. I feel
Mhm.
like those are some of the companies that are really flourishing. And I know everybody may use this example, but just the culture of Chick-fil-A, and the atmosphere that they provide for their customers, and then the same for their employees. Everybody wants to eat there, everybody wants to work there. And
Yeah,
so, what I always try to advise my students is that, you don't want your job to be work for you.
that's
You
right.
want it to be something that whenever you go to work, it's not work.
That's right.
You
That's
would
right.
do it for free.
That's right.
So that is the culture is very, 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 very important.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
important. And you're right. That's a key component that we leave out a lot of the times because we're focused on making a profit. But
Mhm.
you're only going to be as profitable as your culture.
Correct.
So I totally agree with you on that. So you spoke a little bit about some competencies. Can
Mhm.
you talk to us about some of the work that you're doing around competency based learning?
Yes. Thank you for that, Mr. Dominic. The one thing about competencies that we continues to evaluate is what competencies, whether it's soft competencies or hard competencies, are required today, and not only today. Let me put it in perspective. If the company wants to continue growing next year better than what they did this year, they gotta create a funnel of new competencies, because it's like stretching your muscles. Every single year to grow the business, the employees needs to be more competent. The employee needs to develop more a level of knowledge that is translated into an application, and that's what the competency is about. So my focus has been for the last few years trying to figure out what is next. What is the next level competency that is required to the organization, to the employee? Because the one thing we gotta remember is not only to the individual competencies, but the competencies that is the organizational competencies. Sometimes we mix and match them together, and we think that by developing the individual, the organization is being developed, and sometimes it's not the same case. The organizational competencies goes back to the priorities of the business over a long-term strategy. And if we have a long-term strategy, and we also have the development of that individual follow the same alignment, then we have competencies that are gonna be sustainable. And then everybody in any organization needs to understand what competencies from the organizations look like and what their individual competencies needs to be. Example I'm going to give you last is if I am working in an organization where the competencies that they needed is being more proactive to sustain to be able to sustain the growth, and also being able to predict problems from them to show up and disrupt the way that we do business. So I need to focus myself in becoming that kind of proactive leader, that proactive competent individual that allows me to be in line and be structured according to the company's needs. Some organizations are very focused on yesterday solving problem analysis versus in being proactive to what next talent or next competent on a competency looks like. And there is a big difference in the way that the sustainability take place between those two level of organizations.
Yes, and thank you for that. And so when I hear you talk about these competencies, I hear you saying professional and personal growth,
Mhm.
professional and personal development. And
Correct.
that just motivates me in itself. And so I want to put it out there, especially to the students watching, that it doesn't matter what you're doing in life.
Yeah.
You need to continuously learn. You need to continuously
Yes.
develop yourself as a professional and in your personal life. And because these things, these competencies, you can take anywhere with you.
That's right.
And the sky's the limit as long as you keep learning, you know yourself, and you evolve. Just imagine if Blockbuster and doorstep video had evolved into what's next. You know, there's a saying, video killed the radio star.
That's
And
right.
so that's because, you know, radio's been around and it's still around, but when it came out, everybody wanted to watch videos now. Everybody wanted to see movies now. Everybody wanted to watch their sports on a TV screen. And so just think if those companies would have evolved. So you got to have some forward thinking principles to go along with that. Hey, I'm getting excited just talking about this stuff, man.
Yes.
And so I hope our viewers are really taking this in, because, you know, that's the way to live life. You got to continuously grow. And I love the way that you compared it to your muscles.
That's right.
You got to stretch your muscles every day. You got to condition your body and condition your mind for the long haul, because this thing is a marathon, man. And I really appreciate those gems.
Yes.
So,
I'm going to add something to the fact that as the world economy continues to evolve, and one of the evolution that they have been seeing probably in the last 25 years has been outsourcing. So outsourcing means an organization is looking at themselves and see, what am I good at, and what do I need to keep doing, and what else can somebody else better than me can do. And that's why it is a lot of restructuring, is a lot of changing in the way that we're looking at, okay, marketing. Do I need marketing in-house, or I can have marketing outside? So the same thing happens to the individual. Once we develop our competencies, we need to be looking very carefully about what is the competencies that are going to be putting me in something that I love to do, something that I'm passionate about it, that I continues to evolve into becoming better and better at. So I become a real value added solution to the organization in which I'm working for. So it's very good that you don't have to know everything, but you gotta be very good, sort of a subject matter expert in some fields, some competency that you are among the 10 or 20% best competent individual in that field. So it's all about laser focus in your competencies too. So the organization can recognize if your competency is that you accelerate the growth of businesses, and that has been your competency. So organization is going to value that, because they know by bringing you in, the organization is going to grow very, very fast, and it's going to be in the way that they want it. So I hope that makes some sense.
Oh yes, that makes complete sense, and I'm following you on that. And so that leads me into my last and my final question.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to the students that are watching. These are middle and high school age students. Yes. I just want to know, what kind of advice do you have for them, and what can they be working on right now to better themselves?
Thank you. That's probably the most important question of everything else that we will talk about. The one thing I think what the students should be looking at is, I want to have a career path. If I was a student today and I was a senior in high school, I'm going to be asking employer, what is my career path? I just don't want a job anymore. I want a career path. And that career path is a multi-dimensional one, because that has to be engaged by your parents, that has to be engaged by your teachers, by your counselors, by the school, by your employer. So because they know something about you that you're good at it, that you might even don't know about yourself, or that you might need a little more clarification, especially during the time frame that you are in life. As a teenager, you might change decisions daily. You might change decision weekly. Oh, I want to be this, but no, maybe I want to be that. However, when you have a system around you, a support system, which is your parents, your teachers, your counselors, a future employer, I think you get a very good view of what your future might look like. And I will say honestly that every single student should always ask their employer for career path as they getting interviews. If they go into an interview, an employer don't have a career path, you gotta challenge them with it, because the problem is they're gonna give you a job not necessarily translate into a career. And we all here for a short period of time in this life to develop careers, to develop opportunities for ourselves and others to grow and become that shining light that can help others to do the same. So it's very critical that we understand how important it is to the career path request. So they can tell you in 3 months you'll be here, in 7 months or 6 months you'll be here, in a year you'll be here. So you know what you need to do, and challenge them not only with where you're going to end up financially, and also with the level of management responsibility, but challenge them with what level of competency that organization needs. And then figure out if that's passion to you. And if it is, then go and study more so you become that 10 or 20% best competent individual in that particular area. And you become a value added to that organization that they never want to let you go. I finish with this. A diamond is a diamond, no matter where you find it. If an organization finds a diamond in Africa, they're gonna love the diamond and gonna keep it and gonna make it better. If they find that diamond in South America, they still gonna keep it. In North America, they still gonna keep it. So that diamond is you. You just need to continue flourish yourself, making sure that you polish yourself and let other people also give you the right guidance so you can be all that you can be as a diamond. Thank you very much for the opportunity to having me today.
Absolutely. And so, guys, you heard it. A diamond is a diamond. It doesn't matter where you find it. So, you guys are all diamonds, and just continue to polish yourself, and be the shiniest diamond that you can be. And
Yeah.
so, great advice from Dr. Lee. We appreciate you again just for being on and investing your time and taking your time out of your day, because we know that you have a busy schedule. So thank you again. And that's it for today on Work-Based Webinar Wednesday. Um, Follow us on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is RSS CTE. Our Twitter handle is at RSS_CTE. Our Instagram is RSS CTE. And of course, our Facebook channel, some of you guys might be watching on here through our Facebook channel, is RSS CTE. So thank you once again and have a great day.
Thank you.